The stroke of a pen, President Donald Trump signed an executive order charging a 25% tariff on all foreign-made vehicles. Thank you for joining us tonight for CBS News Detroit at 11. I'm Terrence Friday.
You're about to pay $6,400 more for the same car. Not because it got better, not because it has more features, because the government slapped tariffs on it, and every single automaker is passing that cost straight to you. I'm going to show you exactly how much tariffs are inflating prices on new cars, used cars, repairs, and insurance. And I'm going to tell you which cars got hit the hardest and which ones you can still buy without getting destroyed. The 2026 Tariff Reality. Here's what happened. On March 26, 2025, President Trump announced a 25% tariff on all cars imported into the United States. That tariff went into effect on April 3rd. Then on May 3rd, another 25% tariff hit all auto parts coming from outside the US. On top of that, there's a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum, which are used to build cars even if they're assembled in America. Automakers absorbed these costs for most of 2025 because they were terrified of scaring away buyers. GM ate $4 billion to $5 billion in tariff costs last year. Ford initially estimated a $2.5 billion tariff impact and paid $800 million in tariffs just in Q2 2025 alone. Toyota, Nissan, Hyundai, and every European automaker reported massive hits to their bottom line, but they kept prices stable because they were hoping trade deals would lower the tariffs before they had to pass costs to consumers. That didn't fully happen. Yes, some deals got done. The EU, Japan, South Korea, and the UK negotiated their tariffs down from 25% to 15% by August. But the situation with Canada and Mexico remained complicated, with tariffs pausing and restarting throughout 2025 as USMCA exemptions were debated. The uncertainty alone has been enough to push prices higher. Now, we're in 2026 and automakers can't absorb the costs anymore. They're raising prices on the 2026 model year and they're blaming it on new features and market conditions. But everyone knows it's tariffs. Audi just raised prices $800 to $4,100 depending on the model. BMW raised prices $400 to $1,500. Porsche raised prices 1.2% to 2.9%. And those are just the luxury brands being honest about it. Here's what this means for you. The Yale Budget Lab calculated that tariffs are adding $6,400 to the average new car price, a 13.5% increase. Some experts predict prices will be 4% to 8% higher across the board by the end of 2026. Others say certain vehicle types are getting hit even harder depending on where they're built and how much foreign content they use. No matter which number you believe, you're paying thousands more for the same car you could have bought a year ago. How tariffs hit every single car. Here's the lie dealers don't want you to know. Even cars built in America are getting more expensive because of tariffs. A Toyota RAV4 assembled in Georgetown, Kentucky, uses parts from Japan, Mexico, and Canada. Those parts are now subject to tariffs when they cross borders. A Honda Civic built in Indiana uses components that cross international lines multiple times during production. Tesla builds all its cars in the US, but it imports batteries, chips, and components from all over the world. Tesla's prices are going up. Ford builds the F-150 in Michigan. But the steel, aluminum, and electronics are imported. Ford prices are going up. The only way to avoid tariffs completely is to buy a car that's 100% made in America, with 100% American parts. And that car doesn't exist. Even the most American-made vehicles use at least 10% to 20% foreign content. The average car uses closer to 40% to 60% imported parts or components. Every single one of those parts faces potential tariffs. Here's how it breaks down by vehicle type. Compact and subcompact SUVs are getting hammered because many are imported or use heavy foreign content. Luxury cars from Germany are getting hit hard. A BMW built in Germany and imported to the US faced a 25% tariff until the EU deal brought it down to 15% in August. But that's still a massive cost increase from the 2.5% tariff that existed before. Trucks built in Mexico, like the Toyota Tacoma, are seeing huge increases. The Ford Maverick is built in Mexico and it's one of Ford's best sellers, so Ford is dealing with significant tariff costs on every unit. The Chevy Silverado and GMC Sierra have some production in Mexico. Same problem. And EVs, forget about it. The batteries, motors, and electronics are imported, so even US-built EVs like the Ford F-150 Lightning face higher costs. The hidden price increases. Here's the sneaky part. Dealers and automakers don't want to put tariffs on the window sticker because it makes them look bad. So they're hiding the cost in ways you won't notice. First, they're raising the MSRP on 2026 models and calling it a model year refresh. Edmunds found that 29 of the 45 models already on dealer lots have higher sticker prices than the 2025 version. Some increases are 2% or less, but others are massive. The Mini Cooper went up 11.4%. The Chevy Traverse and Cadillac CT5 went up over 7%. Second, they're cutting incentives. In November 2025, the average discount was only 6.7% of the purchase price, down from 7.9% the year before. That means you're paying closer to full MSRP because dealers aren't offering the same rebates and cashback. If a car costs $40,000 and incentives drop from 7.9% to 6.7%, you just lost $480 in savings. Multiply that by every car on the lot and dealers are making more money while you're getting squeezed. Third, they're increasing fees. Destination charges, the non-negotiable fee to transport a car to the dealership, averaged around $1,500 in 2025. That's up significantly from just a few years ago. In 2021, destination charges averaged closer to $1,200. Now they're $1,500 or higher on many models. That's several $100s more per car, and it's pure profit for automakers. Fourth, they're charging more for options and offering fewer standard features. Want leather seats? That package has just got $500 more expensive. Want adaptive cruise control? Add another $1,000. They're unbundling features that used to be standard and charging you separately for them. You're paying more and getting less. And fifth, they're cutting complimentary services. Hyundai ended their free maintenance program on some 2026 models. That program used to cover oil changes and basic service for 3 years. Now you're paying out of pocket. Some brands try to soften price increases by offering maintenance packages, but the price hikes are often bigger than the value you're getting back. You're still losing money. The used car trap. Tariffs don't directly affect used cars, but they're impacting the used car market in other ways. When new car prices go up $6,400, buyers who can't afford new cars flood the used market. That drives up demand for used cars, which pushes up prices. We saw this during the pandemic when new car production stopped. Used car prices exploded because everyone needed a car and supply was tight. The same dynamic is happening now. Used car inventory is already constrained because automakers built millions fewer cars during the pandemic. Those missing vehicles will never hit the used market, so supply is permanently tighter than it used to be. Now add tariffs pushing new car prices higher, and you've got more buyers chasing fewer used cars. Prices stay elevated. Used car prices have remained stubbornly high throughout 2025. While they've come down from pandemic peaks, they haven't dropped to pre-2020 levels. And with new car prices climbing due to tariffs, there's pressure keeping used car prices from falling significantly. But here's the other problem. If you're trading in a car to buy something new, your trade-in value isn't going up as fast as new car prices. So you're getting squeezed on both ends. You're paying more for the new car, and the gap between your trade-in value and the new car price is widening. It's costing you thousands. The repair cost nightmare. Now let's talk about what happens after you buy the car. The 25% tariff on parts went into effect on May 3rd, 2025. That means every single part imported from outside the US is potentially 25% more expensive. Most car parts are imported. Brake pads, headlights, sensors, bumpers, windshields, all of it. When you need a repair, you're paying more for the part. Let's say you need a new bumper after a fender bender. If that part is imported and subject to tariffs, it could cost 25% more than it did before May 2025. That's an extra $200 on an $800 part. Need a new headlight assembly? Add the tariff cost. Need a replacement door panel? Same thing. Over the life of the car, you're going to pay more in repair costs because of tariffs on parts. And insurance companies know this. They're already raising rates to cover the higher cost of repairs. Some analysts are predicting car insurance rates could spike even further in 2026 because of tariff-driven repair costs. Here's the brutal reality. You're not just paying $6,400 more upfront for the car. You're also paying more for every repair, every replacement part, and higher insurance premiums for as long as you own it. The total cost over 5 to 10 years could be $10,000 to $15,000 more than if you bought the same car before tariffs hit. Which cars got hit the hardest? If you're buying a car in 2026, here's what you need to know. Stay away from anything heavily imported unless you're getting a massive discount. The Ford Maverick built in Mexico, Toyota Tacoma built in Mexico, BMW models built in Germany, Audi models, and other European imports all faced the 25% tariff before trade. Deals reduced some of them to 15%. But even at 15%, that's still way higher than the 2.5% tariff that existed before 2025. Avoid German luxury cars unless they cut you a deal. BMWs, Audis, Mercedes, and Porsches, built in Germany, are facing higher tariffs than they did a year ago. These brands have admitted tariffs are costing them hundreds of millions, and they're passing that cost to you. Avoid vehicles with heavy foreign content, even if they're assembled in the US. The components and parts crossing borders are getting hit with tariffs, and those costs are baked into the final price. And avoid EVs unless you're buying used or getting a pre-tariff deal. EV batteries are imported, and the motors and electronics are imported. Even if the car is assembled in the US, the components are coming from overseas. Tesla, Rivian, Lucid, and every other EV maker is dealing with higher costs, and they're passing it to you. Which cars to buy? Here's your playbook. Buy cars assembled in the US with the highest American content you can find. The Ford F-150 built in Michigan, Chevy Silverado built in Indiana, Toyota Camry built in Kentucky. They're still using some imported parts, so prices are up slightly, but they're not getting destroyed like heavily imported models. Buy used cars from before April 2025. Any car that hit the US before the tariffs went into effect is priced under the old system. You're not paying the tariff premium because it was already here. If you can find a 2024 or early 2025 model that's been sitting on a dealer lot since before tariffs kicked in, negotiate hard and get it at a discount. That's your best deal. Buy hybrids instead of full EVs if you want fuel efficiency. Hybrids use smaller batteries and may have less complex international supply chains than full EVs. The Toyota Prius, RAV4 Hybrid, Honda Civic Hybrid, and Honda CR-V Hybrid are solid choices that may face lower tariff impacts than full EVs. And wait if you can. Trade negotiations are ongoing. If deals improve or tariffs are reduced further, prices could stabilize or even drop slightly. Not back to where they were, but better than they are now. If you can hold off on buying for 6 months and see where policy goes, you might save thousands. The bottom line, tariffs are a tax on you, the buyer. Automakers absorb billions in costs in 2025, but they can't do that forever. Now they're raising prices and you're paying the bill. The Yale Budget Lab says the average car is $6,400 more expensive because of tariffs. Repairs cost more because of the 25% tariff on parts that went into effect May 3rd. Insurance is going up to cover higher claim costs. Don't be the person who pays $6,400 more in 2026 for a car that would have cost less in 2024. The difference is the tariff cost, and you're never getting it back.